Good morning, everyone. Just going to make a short video on cleaning the sword, as I know that a few of you want to make sure that you're just looking after your sword correctly. Pretty simple. First of all, I always advise Choji oil. There are other stuff, but us here, we'll only advise Choji oil. There is other stuff you can use, but as I said, we're going to use Choji oil. So first things we do, clear yourself a little space. I always like to just set it up so I've got everything all ready to go as I reach for parts. That way you've not got a sword in your hand as you're going through the process of cleaning it. First things first, we take the sword, the sire off the sword, just place it down gently. There we are. Next thing, just inspect the sword for any damage. We're not going to go through a full clean and actually take off the koshirae at this moment. This is just a basic clean video. I might well do another one if people want it at a later point. So first things first, we've inspected the sword. We can see that there's no damage. So what we want to do is we take a piece of the paper. It's just very, very soft paper, this. As you can see, I've used it quite a lot, but one piece will last a long time. It's quite expensive for what it is, but as I said, you get a lot of uses out of it. You know, and that's just one piece. I've got more pieces in there which have been untouched. Also, what I do, because we have a point when we just clean the grease and grime from the sword, like so, I have a second piece of paper, which I use for removing the Uchiko powder. So, yeah, always running away from the body. We clean towards the tip of the sword, so we're never pulling towards us. Likewise, always go from the spine of the sword, the mine, I think it's called, if I remember rightly. So there we go. Let me just check the other side. Yep, all fine. So there we go. So what we've just done there is we've just wiped off any grime and acidy grease from the fingertips, bits of detritus from the sire. So now we can move on to the polishing the blade. We then take our Uchiko ball and just want 3 or 4 hits along the sword. Again, we're hitting from the back of the sword. We then take the other piece of paper, which as you can see is a lot cleaner. This one is getting to the point where I'm going to have to change it. And again, from the super end of the sword, from the back, from the mune, from the spine of the sword, we just wipe it off. And it's just taken off its finest scratches. Likewise now, because we're, check both sides, we get rid of all of the powder. And because we're now we've taken off all of the grease, and that will have taken off some of the grease as well. Because we've taken any of that material off, if you're touching the sword now, just use the paper. So just hold it like so. So that way you're not applying more grease to the sword. Once that part is done, just put that away. Now we come to the final part, which is and you can do that point. I try to, once every couple of months, I'll do a full clean where I will take off this, take off the koshirae, the suka, and I will just check that there's no damage on the inside. I'm not going to do that now, as I said, but when I do that, I will usually do 2 or 3 powder coatings of the Uchiko, just giving it an extra bit of a polish. So now we move on to the Choji oil. We take our little gauze rag. We grab the bottle. This is a small bottle. I've got a larger bottle at home, and I just fill this one up because it's just a bit easier to carry. And again, from the super end of the sword, from the scut end of the sword, we just lose our grip, and we just run it on the side. Obviously, this has not got an edge on it, but if you are polishing an edged sword, is that much more important to be twice as careful and definitely go from go from the back, from the other side. So there we go, it's just a thin coating. We don't put a lot on. It's a little bit too much there actually. So what I do is I start from there and I wipe up the sword, like so. And that way, we're taking it away from going into there, because what we don't want is it getting inside and then causing the wood inside to rot, because then it can loosen the pegs, stuff like this, and obviously then you could have an issue with a sword flying, a sword blade flying off, and even without an edge, even on the Ito, that tip's still sharp, and if you're slinging it with velocity at somebody, it can be dangerous. So that being done, we're happy with how it is now, nice and clean. We then literally just slide the sire back onto the sword and place it down. Okay, any questions? Just fire away. Thanks guys.